In Chinatown, Randall Peltzer, a quirky inventor, was searching for two things: a place to sell his latest invention and the perfect Christmas gift for his son Billy. Wandering through the crowded streets, he stumbled upon a mysterious shop filled with odd and intriguing items. The shop's owner, an elderly Chinese man, welcomed Randall as he began showing off his latest gadget, the Bathroom Buddy. Bathroom Buddy somehow sounds like the most diabolical-ass gadget known to mankind. Randall was in the middle of his sales pitch when a curious sound caught his attention, a soft chuckling coming from the back of the shop. Drawn to it, he wandered over and lifted a small cover to reveal an adorable, fluffy creature with big ears and expressive eyes. "What is this?" Randall asked, fascinated. "That is a Mogwai," the old man replied, shaking his head when Randall offered to buy it. "It is not for sale." Randall, determined, increased his offer to $200, but the shopkeeper remained firm. Disappointed, Randall left the shop. Outside, the old man's grandson approached him secretly. "I'll sell it to you," the boy said. "We need the money, but remember, follow these 3 rules. Keep it away from bright light, don't let it get wet, and no matter what, never feed it after midnight." Randall agreed and walked away with the strange new pet. Back home, Billy Peltzer's old car refused to start. Frustrated, he walked to work with his dog Barney. On the way, he bumped into his grumpy neighbor, Mr. Futterman, who complained about foreign cars, blaming their Gremlins for everything. At the bank where Billy worked, he hid Barney under his desk to keep him safe. His co-worker, Kate, stopped by to ask him to sign a petition to save Dory's Tavern, a small bar in danger of being shut down by the town's richest woman, Miss Deagle. Miss Deagle wasn't just rich, she was mean. That day, she stormed into the bank, furious about her broken snowman decoration. She accused Barney of destroying it and demanded that the dog be put to sleep. Before anyone could stop him, Barney jumped over the counter and lunged at Miss Deagle. Chaos ensued, and Billy had to apologize to his boss. That evening, Billy met Kate at Dory's Tavern, where she worked part-time. He noticed she seemed troubled but didn't pry. Gerald, another co-worker, tried to impress Kate, but she wasn't interested. At home, Billy's mom was cooking dinner when Randall arrived with his unusual Christmas gift. He insisted Billy open it early. As Billy unwrapped the box, he discovered the Mogwai inside, a creature Randall had named Gizmo. They dimmed the lights, and Billy was enchanted by the adorable creature. Randall explained the rules, emphasizing the importance of following them. That night, Billy played with Gizmo on his keyboard while the little creature sang along. They quickly became friends. The next morning, Billy's friend Pete came over to deliver a Christmas tree. He was immediately fascinated by Gizmo and wanted to hold him, but in his excitement, Pete accidentally knocked over a jar of water, spilling it on Gizmo. Gizmo screamed in pain as small furry balls popped out of his back, each one growing into another Mogwai. Unlike Gizmo, these new Mogwai were mischievous, especially one with a stripe on its head. Stripe, as Billy called him, quickly became the leader of the group. Billy's father saw the potential for a big business opportunity. "Imagine one of these in every home," he exclaimed. But Billy couldn't help noticing how different these Mogwai were from sweet little Gizmo. That night, Billy went to bed feeling uneasy. When he woke up, he couldn't find Barney anywhere. After searching the house, he found the dog tied up outside with Christmas lights. The new Mogwai giggled, clearly proud of their prank. But Billy suspected Miss Deagle. His father suggested taking Barney on his trip to keep him safe. The next day, Billy decided to learn more about the Mogwai. He took one to Mr. Hansen, a science teacher at the local school. To demonstrate, Billy let a drop of water fall on the Mogwai, creating another one. Mr. Hansen was fascinated and agreed to study the new creature. That night, the Mogwai at Billy's house started crying for food. Billy checked the clock. It was only 11:35, so he gave them some leftover chicken. Gizmo refused to eat, watching the others devour their meal hungrily. What Billy didn't realize was that the Mogwai had tampered with the clock, making it look earlier than it was. Across town, the Mogwai in Mr. Hansen's lab managed to steal a snack from his desk. The next morning, Billy woke up to a shocking sight. The Mogwai had transformed into slimy green cocoons. Panicked, he checked the clock and realized the trickery. Meanwhile, at school, Mr. Hansen discovered that the Mogwai there had also cocooned. Back home, Billy's mom was startled by a phone call while upstairs the cocoons began to hatch. Gizmo watched nervously as his mischievous offspring emerged, not as cute Mogwai, but as hideous, scaly creatures with sharp teeth and glowing red eyes. At the bank, Miss Deagle demanded to know where Barney was, but Billy dismissed her angrily. Meanwhile, at school, the cocoon in Mr. Hansen's lab hatched, and the terrifying creature began wreaking havoc. Mr. Hansen, the school science teacher, carefully inspected the cocoon left by the Mogwai Billy had brought him. As he leaned closer, He realized it was empty. A chill ran down his spine. He quickly called Billy to let him know something strange was happening. Billy promised to come right away. Meanwhile, Mr. Hansen tried to lure the creature out with a candy bar, cautiously sliding it under the desk. For a moment, he thought it was working, but then a clawed hand darted out, grabbing his arm and pulling him violently. He screamed in pain. By the time Billy arrived, Mr. Hansen was lying dead, slumped beneath the desk. Horrified, Billy tried to call for help, but a clawed hand lashed out, scratching him. The gremlin scurried into the air vent, cackling mischievously. Billy bandaged his wound as best he could, but the creature reappeared, pelting him with medical supplies before escaping once more. Back at the Peltzer house, chaos was already unfolding. The gremlins had tied poor Gizmo to a dartboard and were gleefully torturing him. Billy's mom, hearing strange noises upstairs, grabbed a kitchen knife and went to investigate. She opened Billy's room door to find empty, cracked cocoons. Before she could process what was happening, the phone rang. It was Billy. "Mom, get out of the house now," he warned, but the line suddenly went dead. One of the gremlins had cut the cord. Downstairs, she encountered the creatures. One lunged at her but got its head stuck in the blender. Thinking quickly, she turned it on, killing it. Another gremlin attacked, but she stabbed it with the knife. A third was hiding in the microwave. She shut the door and hit the start button, watching it explode. Grabbing more knives, she searched the house, determined to fight off the remaining gremlins. Suddenly, one leapt from the Christmas tree, knocking it over onto her. She struggled until Billy burst in, knocking the gremlin into the fireplace where it burned to death. But Stripe, the leader of the gremlins, managed to escape through the window. Billy rushed his injured mom to the doctor before returning home to rescue Gizmo. Billy followed Stripe's tracks through the snow, eventually finding him at the YMCA. Stripe smirked as he pushed past Billy and leapt into the swimming pool. The water bubbled and glowed an eerie green. Moments later, hundreds of gremlins began to emerge. Desperate, Billy rushed to the police station to warn them, but the officers dismissed his story as nonsense, even when he showed them Gizmo. The town, however, was already descending into chaos. Mr. Futterman and his wife were at home watching TV when their screen went snowy. Annoyed, Mr. Futterman went outside to fix the antenna, but heard strange noises. A gremlin had tampered with his snowplow. Before he could react, the machine roared to life, crashing through his house and killing him and his wife. The gremlins spread havoc, attacking homes, destroying cars, and terrorizing residents. At Miss Deagle's house, she heard singing at her door. Annoyed, she went to throw water at the carolers, only to discover they were gremlins. Panicked, she locked the door and scrambled into her stair lift, but a gremlin had tampered with it, sending her rocketing up the stairs and flying out the window, crashing onto the snowy ground below. Nearby, the police were finally beginning to realize Billy was telling the truth, but it was too late. The gremlins had cut their brake lines, and their car crashed, leaving them helpless. At Dory's tavern, Kate found herself trapped as gremlins partied wildly, drinking and wreaking havoc. She discovered they were afraid of bright lights, so she used a camera flash to scare them back. Just as she ran out of options, Billy arrived, using his car's headlights to drive the gremlins away. The car stalled again, forcing Billy and Kate to flee on foot. They took refuge in the bank, where Kate shared a heartbreaking story. When she was 9, her father had tried to surprise the family by dressing as Santa and climbing down the chimney. He slipped, broke his neck, and died, leaving her with a deep hatred for Christmas. The pair noticed the streets were eerily quiet. Billy guessed the gremlins had gone somewhere dark to hide from the approaching daylight. Searching the town, they found the creatures gathered in the movie theater, gleefully watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Billy and Kate sneaked into the boiler room and opened the gas lines, setting a fire to destroy the theater. The gremlins noticed them and gave chase, but Billy and Kate escaped, locking the doors behind them just as the building exploded, killing all the gremlins inside, or so they thought. Stripe had escaped to a department store. When Kate spotted him, she and Billy followed him inside. Stripe was causing havoc, riding a skateboard and munching on candy. Billy handed Gizmo to Kate and told her to find the light switches while he armed himself with a baseball bat. Stripe fought back fiercely, using everything from throwing objects to wielding a chainsaw. Just as he gained the upper hand, Gizmo bravely drove a remote control car to open the store's blinds, flooding the room with sunlight. The light hit Stripe as he tried to multiply using a fountain. Screaming, he dissolved into a gruesome pile of goo, finally ending the chaos. As peace returned, the Peltzers watched a news report about the bizarre events. Suddenly, the old Chinese shopkeeper appeared at their home. He had come to take Gizmo back, scolding Randall for not understanding the responsibility of owning a Mogwai. Before leaving, Gizmo spoke softly to Billy, saying goodbye. The old man promised that someday Billy might be ready to care for a Mogwai properly. With Gizmo safely in his box, the shopkeeper disappeared into the snowy night, leaving Billy with memories of a Christmas he would never forget. And to never forget a new upload of mine, I recommend you subscribe to the channel. Drop a like and check out the recommendations on the right for more interesting stories. Grab your popcorn, enjoy yourself, and see you soon, my friend.